Wakanda Forever. Marvel's fictional African country has served as a showcase of postmodern technology and black excellence throughout numerous comics and film, not to mention having a badass superhero king to boot. How cool is that? But with the impact of the Black Panther in recent years and the amount of people saying Wakanda Forever in public, how realistic is Wakanda really? Very much so, says history. Today on Nutty History, we're exploring the inspirations for Wakanda, the incredible African nation at the center of the Marvel Universe. Wakanda is said to have come into existence in the heart of Africa when various neighboring tribes got together near a mountain filled with vibranium. The superhero king and mystical metal vibranium might be fictional, but these tribes are highly inspired by real African tribes. The border tribe, which protects Wakanda's borders, can be distinguished by their fascinating blanket cloaks. These cloaks actually come from Lesotho, who wear them to protect themselves from South African snowy winters. These cloaks, called Basotho, have specific symbols weaved over them which represents their fealty to their chief. This kind of explains why the border tribes stick behind Daniel Kaluuya's character in the film and stay loyal to the throne in Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. It's about whoever's in that chair. Apart from unwavering loyalty, riding is another thing common about border tribe and Lesotho. Only in the real world, they ride horses, not rhinos. That would have been so badass though. Similarities don't end with the border tribe. Zulu's headdress and kente fabric can be seen on the royal family of Wakanda, aka the Panther tribe. Dora Milaje's armor comes from a quirky fusion between garbs of the Maasai tribe and jewelry of the Ndebele tribe. The River tribe reciprocates the Mercy tribe's traditions, including hard-not-to-notice lip plates, and the Merchant tribe can be seen wearing Tuareg jewelry on the common streets of Wakanda. In the movie Black Panther, Everett Ross was all of us when he got to see the Wakandan city in all its glory. The expression on his face was perhaps the same to a Portuguese captain, Lourenço Pinto, whose ship happened to port on the city of Benin on the western shore of Africa in 1691. Great Benin, where the king resides, is larger than Lisbon. All the streets run straight and as far as the eye can see. The city is wealthy and industrious. It is so well governed that theft is unknown, and the people live in such security that they have no doors to their houses. The great city of Benin may have been located hidden in the jungles of Western Africa, but it was connected to all other African kingdoms through well-made contemporary roads, just like the hidden kingdom of Wakanda. The seat of a mighty empire, Benin's rule stretched from Lagos in the west to beyond the Niger River in the east. Benin people were known to travel all over Europe and for being in touch with Dutch, English, and French by the time Pinto stumbled upon their architectural wonder of a capital. According to the oral history of the Edo tribe, the native name of Benin was Ngadamogodo, named after the sky god Igodo. Originally founded by Ajiso's rulers, the city saw radical changes when the neighboring tribe of Ife's descendants took over the charge. King Iwedo established an elite class of tribal chiefs, and the royal family was formally recognized in the second half of the 13th century. These chiefs were perhaps the inspiration behind the tribes of Wakanda, and the Benin king was believed to be the country personified, very much like the Black Panther. Between the 13th and 15th centuries, Benin grew into an empire thanks to this new hierarchy, and King Ure I used the newly accumulated wealth to transform the city. Artisans and art both flourished under the protection of a well-organized military, and Benin became famous for its bronze casting, ivory artifacts, and woodwork all across the globe. He also transformed architecture and city planning along with organizing grand festivals to keep his subjects happy. He also finished the work on moats that walled the city to discourage aggressors. These moats were only second to the Great Wall of China as any man-made invention before the world saw the Industrial Revolution. Well, unfortunately, Pinto was the butterfly effect that caused the demise. His arrival to the city port was followed by the setup of commerce between Portugal and Benin. The city opened its gates to Europeans, and the relationship blossomed to the extent that Benin sent an ambassador to Portugal. Portuguese missionaries also sprung up some churches in the not-so-secret city. This blossoming relationship lasted for almost 150 years, until the British Empire found its way to Benin. During the second half of the 19th century, the British Empire was at its peak, and sadly, the Benin Kingdom was merely a shadow of itself. Benin was slowly losing its territories to Britain. Moreover, as Benin was one of the biggest exporters of palm oil, Britishers were heavily interested in colonizing the country. In 1892, Vice Consul H.L. Galway managed to convince King Overwhelming to sign his dwindling empire to the British as a protectorate. This and his fondness for human sacrifice made him really unpopular among tribal chiefs and subjects. Paranoid, the king made a blunder by allowing the massacre of the members of the British expedition in 1897. This sealed Benin's fate. The British Empire invaded Benin and burned the city to the ground, but only after making sure to loot the royal treasures and rare artifacts. These artifacts were sold all over Europe, and they ultimately made their way to collections and museums, just like Killmonger points out in the movie. What would the world be like if Benin had never fallen? Do you think they would have achieved success like Wakanda without vibranium? Tell us in the comments.